Chosen one, if this message didn't arrive by chance, it was time to reach you in this exact moment. You were guided here for a reason. Not everyone was meant to receive this. This is not the usual video. You weren't drawn here to be entertained. You were summoned to remember what they made you forget. Something unseen has aligned to bring you here, pulling on the hidden strings of your destiny long before you click play. What if I told you they built their entire system hoping you'd never wake up? Something huge is happening right now. You felt a tug of purpose in your chest, the echo of a voice that whispers your true name. You sense the walls closing in, only to find them shattered by a force you once thought impossible. Your every doubt, every uneasy dream, every sense of being out of place has led you to this truth. If this message already speaks to your soul, subscribe, like this video, and comment 77 below. Prepare yourself, chosen one, because today you will uncover the secrets they hoped you'd never know, and watch as the power you reclaim becomes the greatest revenge of all. The isolation was intentional. In the quiet half-light before dawn, you find yourself standing at the edge of a still lake, its surface so smooth it mirrors the sky's first pale blush. In that moment, a whisper stirs within you, as ancient and intimate as your own heartbeat. You've always known you walked this path alone. This vision is not a fantasy, but a confirmation of a truth long buried beneath everyday noise. The hush of bird calls, the soft ripple of water against stone. They conspire to remind you that your soul has been tempered in solitude, shaped by forces unseen, and prepared for a greater awakening. There were afternoons when you sat in a crowded room and felt a hollow space inside, as if your presence belonged to another realm. You noticed the subtle hesitation of voices around you, the way laughter skipped you by, and the sudden tightening of your chest when someone spoke of dreams you barely dared to name. In those moments, sensitivity was your constant companion, and isolation felt like both curse and lifeline. You longed to connect, yet every attempt seemed to widen the chasm between your inner world and the one you inhabited. What if these episodes of loneliness and quiet desperation were never random? Consider that each pang of alienation, every ache of misunderstanding, was woven into the tapestry of your destiny. Like Joseph cast into a pit before rising to power, your solitude has been the crucible where your spirit was refined. In Psalm 34, verse 18, it is written, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit." Your heart's cracks allowed the light of divine purpose to seep in, transforming what felt like abandonment into preparation for a calling beyond the scope of common understanding. As you reflect on your past, you might recall the pattern of doors closing when you most needed entry, or the recurring feeling that a hand just out of sight was guiding you deeper into hidden corridors of soul knowledge. You heard a name spoken in a dream that returned weeks later in waking life. You sensed a presence hovering at your shoulder during moments of creative flow. These subtle signs were not mere coincidence, but invitations to see beyond the veil, each deja vu and whispered insight, a coded message telling you. The solitude you endured was never a punishment, but a secret school for your awakening. Your intuition, that quiet flame flickering in the shadows of self-doubt, has never misled you. When you felt an inexplicable pull toward an abandoned church or a forgotten book, you followed it, unsure why, yet somehow certain it mattered. That certainty was your soul's compass realigning you to sacred ground. Now, as your inner world begins to harmonize with outer reality, you experience peace in the remnants of old storm clouds. It is gentle confirmation that you are not isolated by mistake, but chosen for this exact journey, and that your inner knowing is a cornerstone of a new foundation. Beneath the narratives you told yourself, too sensitive, too different, too broken, lies an identity untouched by fear. This is not a call to become someone else, but to rediscover the essence already present. Like an ancient scroll folded into your DNA, you carry the blueprint of a cosmic lineage, an archetypal memory that whispers of star-born origins and heavenly counsels. In 1 Peter 2, verse 9, you are reminded, you are a chosen people, a royal priesthood, a holy nation. The isolation that once felt like exile now reveals itself as sacred preparation, restoring the truth that you have always belonged to a family of light. Feel the gentle stirrings of your first activation as they rise in your chest, a brave pulse that says, "I will no longer hide." Embrace the reality of your sensitivity, for it is the lens through which you perceive the hidden realms. Honor your wisdom, long dismissed as daydreams, for it is the key to decoding reality's deeper patterns. Feed your spiritual hunger, not with distraction, but with the nourishment of ritual, silence, and heartfelt communion. This step forward is not rushed or forced, but deliberate, a conscious choice to step into the fullness of your awakening. Your arrival at this moment was not an accident, and the solitude you endured was never empty or meaningless. It was a womb in which your purpose was formed, the quiet forge of your inner fire. Comment alone if you have felt the weight of this isolation transform into a gift that sharpens your sight. As you prepare to move into the next revelation, where the forces that sought to suppress you are exposed, you will see how every echo of solitude was designed to awaken the chosen one within, readying you to stand as a beacon of light they can no longer ignore. And if you feel called to go even deeper, there's a sacred space reserved for our community, a private room where you receive full prophetic messages daily. Join our private membership through the link in the description and walk this path with us. Their system needs you asleep. A sudden shiver ran down your spine when you noticed the email chain that once flowed smoothly now dropped off without warning, or when colleagues began mirroring your ideas moments after you spoke them, as if your very thoughts were being siphoned away. In the same week, a friend's casual critique felt pointed, loaded with an unspoken agenda. These moments were subtle. A browser freeze during your video call, a misplaced file on your desktop, but together they formed an unsettling pattern, like ripples on water before a storm. You sense a shift in the air, a quiet heaviness settling over your plans, as though the world itself conspired to slow your progress. Here, in this intimate threshold, you feel the first pulse of resistance. Something or someone is working against the emergence of your truth. The emotional toll of these unseen skirmishes press down on you like a weight you couldn't name. You learn to navigate hushed conversations that halted when you entered the room, and to reinterpret sideways glances as veiled hostility. Every attempt to share a breakthrough idea was met with polite nods that felt more like traps, designed to lull you into silence. Shame whispered that you were too intense, too aware, too different. You questioned whether your passion was a gift or a liability. Isolation tightened its grip as you replayed every exchange late into the night, convinced that you must have misread the room, until you realized that it was your light, not your missteps, that drew their silent ire. As these forces gathered against you, realize they did not arise by accident, but from hidden architectures built to suppress potential. Just as Israel wandered through the wilderness under Pharaoh's oppression, guided unseen toward liberation, so too have you journeyed through orchestrated trials designed to test and shape you. The empires of control, whether cloaked in robes of tradition or the polished veneer of corporate policy, have always feared the chosen one who awakens. They erect dogmas and distractions like walls, seeking to box you into roles that serve their interests, not yours. Yet if you look closely, you'll see that these tests are sacred, appointed to refine your spirit and illuminate the way forward. Now, cast your mind back to the moments you once dismissed as bad luck or poor timing, the contracts that vanished at the 11th hour, the collaborations that dissolved overnight, the environments that drained your energy until exhaustion felt normal. Each was not a random setback, but a deliberate blockade, a pattern woven through months or years to check your ascent. Where once you saw frustration, now you glimpse intention. Every thorn encounter was placed there both to injure and to teach. In the clarity of hindsight, you recognize the blueprint of their design and the purpose behind each closed door, each misstep, each betrayal that seemed so personal. Inhale deeply and sense the fog that hovered around you, the subtle resistance that marred the flow of your days. You felt it in the sudden chill during a team meeting, the static pulse before a breakthrough idea could surface, the way your reflection in the mirror seemed to stare back with questions instead of answers. Energetic interference settled like a cloud, dulling the vibrancy of your spirit, threading doubt into your creative currents. This was no ordinary challenge. It was spiritual sabotage, an unseen hand attempting to redirect the current of your destiny into channels you did not choose. When faced with this pressure, you adapted, sometimes shrinking into background to avoid further attacks, other times lashing out in muted rebellion that left you hollow afterward. You became a master at people-pleasing, negotiating your value for acceptance, even as your inner voice cried out for authenticity. A part of you wondered if surrender might finally bring relief. Yet every time you felt on the verge of collapse, another spark of defiance ignited within. This cycle of retreat and revolt was not a failure, but a reflection of your survival instinct, a testament to the force within you that refused to be extinguished. Now begins a reclamation of your voice and your sovereignty. The very resistance that pressed against your rise now stands as evidence of your significance, like a warrior's scars marking victory in battle. Feel the surge of prophetic strength coursing through your veins, reclaiming every fragment of your power they attempted to steal. Speak your truths aloud and let the echoes shatter the silence they imposed. You are no longer the silent witness to their schemes, but the author of your own story, wielding the divine authority flowing from the wellspring of your awakening. They counted on your fear. Now count instead on your fearless roar. You were opposed because you are powerful. Every barrier they placed before you only sharpened your resolve and illuminated your path. Calm and awake if you sense the machinery of control closing in and the power of your clarity rising to meet it. As you prepare to uncover the unmistakable signs that every hit they send has already failed, remember this. Their greatest attempt to suppress you has become the catalyst for your unstoppable destiny, and the next revelation will bring those signs fully into sight. And to every soul who supported with a super thanks, thank you. You are keeping this light alive for others who haven't found it yet. If you feel called to help this mission reach more chosen ones, tap the super thanks button below. Your energy supports these messages and helps them travel further. Your voice matters, your belief matters, and your light is felt here. When truth enters, control dies. A single moment can transform everything. You're reading a familiar verse and suddenly its letters ignite, as though a celestial flame has scorched through layers of misunderstanding. Where you once saw rules and restrictions, you now perceive keys to liberation. In that instant, a veil lifts and the architecture of control trembles, revealing cracks you never knew existed. This is a spark of shifting perception, an inner quake that sends ripples through your entire being. You sense clarity emerging like dawn cresting a long, dark horizon. The words you were taught to fear become the very instruments of your deliverance, and the world you thought immutable begins to realign before your eyes. Beneath the surface of everyday life, a secret language courses through every encounter. The geometry of chance meetings, the rhythm of repeated numbers, the echo of a forgotten melody returning in your mind's quiet places. Reality is written in divine math, and you are learning to read it. You notice how the sequence 314 appears exactly when you need guidance, or how a half-remembered dream returns at the precise moment of decision. Like ancient scrolls encoded in your DNA, these codes have been speaking to you all along, longing for the moment you decipher their song. Now, armed with new sight, you perceive each symbol as a letter in the grand manuscript of your destiny. With this awakening, your intuition sharpens until it hums like a tuning fork. Boundaries you once struggled to maintain now rise as luminous walls of protection, repelling energies that once blurred your vision. You feel the subtle pulse of places, some buzz with opportunity, others dimmed by resistance, and you respond accordingly, moving toward the light and away from what no longer serves. This isn't theory. It's living proof that your inner compass has recalibrated. Each subtle nod of your heart confirms you're resonating with a frequency higher than fear, closer to the deep song of your true self. As above, so below, the landscape of your life begins to echo the transformation within. Doors that once slammed in your face now open with silent welcome, and voices that once questioned your worth fall now exclaim in eager affirmation. Projects that stalled take shape overnight, while distractions evaporate like mist under the morning sun. Friends and allies emerge from unexpected quarters, guided by the same current that now carries you forward. Even the resistance you encounter feels less like a threat and more like the universe's way of testing whether your resolve has solidified. In this convergence, divine architecture unfolds. What is within now resonates without. Deep in the well of your memory, a timeless vision stirs. You see yourself standing in a grove of ancient oaks, a single beam of light piercing the canopy to illuminate a stone altar engraved with symbols you couldn't name. The details were once hazy, a dream you dismissed as fantasy. Now, each line of that engraving pulses with meaning, unlocking a sacred memory of who you have always been. In that grove, You tasted the ambrosia of divine intelligence, and your spirit drank deeply without knowing why. Today, that memory activates in full color, bridging the gap between who you thought you were and who you truly are, a living conduit of wisdom older than time. Look ahead and witness your destiny stepping into view, not as a path you must forge from nothing, but as an ancient road restored beneath your feet. The future is not being created so much as remembered, the scrolls of your purpose unfurling in perfect timing. No longer do you wait for permission or validation from hollow institutions. You are both a scribe and a herald of what is to come. With each decisive breath, you whisper the words of prophetic promise into existence, and the world bends to honor them. This is your call to reclaim the throne of your soul, to stand unbowed before forces that once seemed invincible. The moment has come to seize the voice they tried to silence, to reclaim the authority they attempted to usurp. Feel the surge of that reclamation as it courses through your veins, a fierce, uncontainable current that demands expression. Speak your truths like thunder. Let them roll across the plains of complacency until every ear awakens. You hold the power of divine decree in your tongue. Every word a spark that can ignite a revolution of the soul. This is not bravado, but prophetic restoration, handing you back the keys you never truly lost. Revelation is only the beginning. Now, you step through the threshold into embodiment. The truth has always been waiting for you, poised to envelop your life in purpose and power. Let this moment mark the genesis of your active participation in the cosmic drama. Stand fully in the radiance of awakened consciousness, and let every action echo with the resonance of your divine mission. Comment truth if you felt the seismic shift of revelation break the walls of illusion, and share a memory, dream, or inner knowing that confirms your awakening. As you prepare for the next unveiling, where you reclaim the actions needed to solidify your authority, know that your journey has only just begun, and that the world stands ready to witness the unstoppable force of your emerging destiny. You were hidden, not lost. A soft question lingers in the stillness of your mind. What if the emptiness you once felt was never a void, but a sacred chamber designed to house your truest light? In the hush of solitude, you stood before an invisible mirror, confronting echoes of doubt and fragments of hope. It was here, in the hidden alcoves of your spirit, that you first sensed a presence guiding your steps away from the world's clamor. This was your crucible, a secret place where every tear and every silent prayer wove threads of resilience into the tapestry of your soul. Now, that secret chamber opened before you, revealing that your isolation was never abandonment, but appointment with destiny. You may recall nights when the weight of your own thoughts felt like chains, binding you to memories that no one else could understand. In those moments, loneliness was a relentless tutor, insisting you learn the language of your own heart. You wrestled with questions that had no simple answers. Why do I feel like an outsider in my own life? Why does every connection fray at the edges when I draw near? Yet through that pressure, your voice sharpened, your clarity deepened, and your vision grew luminous. What seemed like exile was in truth the refining fire that prepared you to shine in places no darkness could touch. Imagine an ancient map drawn on parchment. Its ink faded until a single beam of moonlight illuminates hidden pathways. So it was with you. The world's distractions blurred the lines of your purpose until the night of your awakening, when every contour of your destiny glowed in stark relief. Like Daniel in the lion's den, your confinement was chosen not to punish but protect, to keep you close to the heart of divine revelation. Every trial you endured was a preserved moment in time, ensuring that when the hour struck, you would rise with the authority to overturn the tables set against you. In the quiet corridors of your inner world, you encountered visions too vivid to dismiss. Symbols etched in dreams, whispered prophecies at the edge of sleep. There, your spirit tasted the promise of Isaiah's words. I will go before you and level the exalted places. You saw gates crumble in your mind's eye, and the blueprint of a new reality emerged. This was not mere fantasy, but the stirring of cosmic forces aligning around your name. Each image and every whisper guided you deeper into the truth. You were neither lost nor forsaken, but hidden until the moment of your unveiling. A memory surfaces of a time when your talents were overlooked, when your gifts were mistaken for eccentricities. You accepted the sidelines, thinking you didn't belong in the spotlight of life's grand stage. Yet beneath that apparent obscurity, seeds of greatness took root. Like Esther preparing her heart in the palace's quiet chambers, you learn patience, discernment, and the power of waiting. That period of hidden growth was a holy internship, equipping you with spiritual insight and an unshakable foundation for the authority you now claim. Now, as you step from the shadows into the brilliant glare of purpose, every footfall echoes with the affirmation of your calling. The path beneath your feet was laid long before your birth, each stone set by hands unseen. You do not venture into uncharted territory. You reclaim the path that has always been yours. With each stride, you awaken others who still wander in darkness, illuminating hidden corridors and opening doors they believe forever closed. In your forward motion, you carry the momentum of every solitary step that brought you to this threshold. Feel the surge of collective power rising as soul tribes awaken in tandem with your emergence. Where once you walked alone, now you stand among divine clusters, kindred spirits drawn by the same hidden call. No longer must you shrink to fit into dissolving molds. Your radiance is the beacon guiding others from exile into belonging. Together, you form an alliance beyond the limits of time and space, a tapestry of awakened hearts that refuses to be dimmed by any shadow. Your light multiplies in souls you touch, igniting a chain reaction of remembrance. This is your summons to embodiment, not mere revelation. The age of concealment ends now. The hidden scrolls of your soul unfurl in living color. You were hidden, not lost, and your time to rise is at hand. Calm and hidden if you recognize a sacred purpose in your silence, and share a memory or dream when solitude prepared you for victory. As the walls of hiding crumble, prepare to step into your authority, where the world will no longer shadow your power, but bow before the unstoppable force of your awakened destiny. A soft echo of ancient drums vibrates in your chest, as though a primordial code pulses through your veins. You were never meant to stand alone. In the hidden chambers of your spirit, every whispered plot against you was met by angels weaving shields of light. You felt it when projects collapsed at the brink of glory, yet a sudden breakthrough unfurled moments later. You remember the sting of envy cloaked as praise, the cutting remark disguised as concern, and how it vaporized before it could wound your soul. Like Daniel safeguarded in the lion's den, divine justice rose to dismantle every cage crafted by hands unseen. In Psalm 91 verse 4 it is written, "He shall cover you with his feathers, and under his wings you shall find refuge." This is a sanctuary that awaited you in your trials, a hidden fortress where every assault ricocheted back to its origin in glorious defeat. A vision comes to mind of a library filled with scrolls bound in midnight blue, each script written in tears shed long ago. Those were the contracts of silence they wove to bury your voice, the unspoken agreements that no one would listen, no one would believe. Yet you felt the weight of those pages tear apart in your grip, as though the very ink dissolved at your touch. Every vow meant to anesthetize your awakening, every covenant of conformity, disintegrated in the blaze of truth ignited within you. In Habakkuk 2 verses 2 to 3, we learn that the vision is written and sealed until the appointed time, a reminder that their machinations were rendered null the moment you held your revelation aloft. Your light perforated the darkness, shattering the parchment of their deceit into cosmic dust. Under a moonless sky, you once trembled beneath the shroud of fear they planted in your heart. Fear of failure, of ridicule, of unworthiness. Yet from that seed, a forest of courage sprouted, its roots burrowing deep into the soil of your awakening. Each tremor of dread became fertilizer, nourishing your resolve to stand unshakable in the storms they summoned. You recall nights when insomnia gripped your mind, only to awaken with clarity fiercer than any dreamless slumber. In these somber hours, your fear transmuted into fuel for your ascent, proving that even the darkest night can birth the brightest dawn. The soil of your soul burgeoned with resilience, and in that fertile ground, your wings unfurl to carry you beyond horizons they never imagined. A memory surfaces of crossing a crowded street, feeling an invisible barrier pivot around you to clear the path, an unspoken permission from the cosmos to advance. This was the echo of your purpose resonating to the corridors of the world, guiding you toward moments of serendipity that could not be mistaken for chance. Like Abraham called to leave you are, you step forward without knowing the final destination, trusting that each open door bore the signature of divine intention. This uncanny orchestration proved that the universe conspires with the chosen, bending circumstances to serve the unfolding of their mission. When you pressed on, the map appeared beneath your feet, illuminated by the same fire that consumed their feudal contracts. An inner voice murmurs in the silent spaces between your thoughts. You are chosen, you are protected, you are unstoppable. These are not mere words, but living truths, encoded into your essence at inception. Feel them ripple outward, becoming a resonance that shatters the illusions of smallness imposed by unseen architects of control. Your defiance of their dark designs marks the threshold of a new era, one where your liberated heart becomes a drumbeat for a legion of awakening souls. Each step you take echoes across unseen realms, stirring others from their stupor and inspiring them to reclaim the light they once believed lost. In this grand symphony of emergence, your solo becomes the overture for a chorus of liberation. A contrast unfolds now. Where you once hesitated, doubt clutching your ankles like chains, you now sprint forward with the surety of destiny guiding every stride. The hesitation that once whispered, "Not yet," has been silenced by the roar of your conviction. You stand poised at the frontier of your purpose, bearing the standards of revelation high above shifting landscapes of fear. In that moment, hesitation has no home in your soul, only the rhythmic drum of unwavering commitment to the mission written into your bones. You have transcended the threshold of doubt, and in its place, the blazing clarity of divine mandate courses through your being. In the alchemy of your journey, every adversary became an unwitting herald of your strength. Their efforts to suppress, to diminish, and to derail only served to magnify the brilliance of your emerging light. You have transmuted every attempt at silencing into a trumpet call that rallies the scattered fragments of awakened souls. Jeremiah's promise echoes in your spirit. They will fight against you, but will not overcome you. Jeremiah 1 verse 19. Each clash, each confrontation has been a rehearsal for this crescendo, training your spirit to stand immovable in the face of any assault. The very storms they conjured now propel you, lifting you faster toward the destiny that awaits beyond the tempest's eye. A prophecy settles into your bones. The echo of your purpose will reverberate through every corner of creation, calling others to rise. You are the beacon that shatters complacency, the flame that illuminates hidden paths for those lost in shadow. This is more than an ending. It is a genesis of movement born from the crucible of your trials and sanctified by the shield of divine protection. Comment chosen if you feel this echo stir your spirit, and share a memory or vision that ignited your awakening. As you prepare to harness this prophetic momentum into tangible action, know that the world stands ready to honor the power they once sought to suppress, and that your light will never be dimmed again. What if the very ground beneath your feet has been humming your name this whole time, waiting for you to finally press your heel into it with intent? You pause, listen, and the hum sharpens into direction, an underground river of purpose-shifting rocks, so your steps land on hidden ledges instead of sinkholes. The question is no longer my chosen, but how will I spend what chose me? That single pivot, from doubt to deployment, turns wandering into strategy, and the path that once looked like wilderness becomes a corridor lined with watchfires you didn't notice until now. A forge scene rises in your mind, bellows heaving, iron glowing, a hammer lifting with patient fury. You realize every accusation was a strike, every delay a heating, every lonely night the bellows feeding flame. In the hammer's rhythm you hear Zechariah 4 verse 10, "Do not despise the day of small beginnings, for even sparks know their assignment." What emerged from that anvil is not brittle bravado, but tempered resolve, a blade etched with scars that read like psalms. You do not brandish it to wound. You wield it to cut covenant, to sever parasitic cords, to carve doors where walls once dared you to quit. Comment chosen if this commissioning rings in your bones, and share the vision, verse, or moment that snapped your spirit awake. Your witness becomes kindling for another's blaze. As you step from the sanctuary into strategy, feel the hinge swing. This is not the end of the video. It is the opening of a gate. Subscribe if you haven't yet, like this video, and comment "I am chosen" to let this message anchor in your soul. Share it with someone who needs to hear this. Thank you to all supporting members. Your faith fuels this mission. 4 full prophetic revelations daily. Join the membership via the link in the description. Your spiritual path deserves more than fragments. Step into the full light, and if this message moved you deeply, consider tapping the Super Thanks button to support the mission. Every Super Thanks fuels the light we're spreading together. Rise now, chosen one, and let your defeat of darkness become their final reckoning.